The warning ignored. The warning echoed across the vastness of space, transmitted on every known frequency and in every dialect of the Galactic Council. It was urgent, clear, and absolute. Humanity must not be provoked. If they rise, it will mean the end for us all. The Council's senior members, representing the most advanced civilizations in known space, had observed Earth for centuries. They had watched empires rise and fall, seen alliances form and crumble, but nothing had prepared them for humans. The Council's message fell on deaf ears. Most species laughed at the notion that Earth, an isolated planet on the galactic fringe, could pose any real threat. The Kaldorians, with their vast armada of battleships, dismissed it outright. The Nexus Collective, masters of quantum technology, considered it beneath their notice. After all, Earth was just beginning to venture beyond its atmosphere, using primitive chemical rockets and basic ion drives. Admiral Thex of the Kaldorian fleet exemplified this dismissive attitude during the Council's emergency session. "These humans barely understand faster than light travel," he declared, his crystalline form shifting in amusement. "They're centuries behind our least advanced members. What threat could they possibly pose?" But deep in the shadowy corners of Earth's research facilities, humanity was far from primitive. They had been watching, learning, and preparing. Dr. Sarah Chen, head of the Global Defense Initiative, stood before a holographic display of reverse-engineered alien technology. Her team had spent decades secretly studying fragments of crashed scout ships, intercepted transmissions, and abandoned artifacts. "They think we're blind," she told her assembled team, a knowing smile playing across her face. "They think we're deaf, but we've heard every transmission, analyzed every piece of technology they've carelessly left behind, and we've improved upon them all." In orbital shipyards hidden beneath advanced cloaking fields, Earth's first true warships took shape. They weren't the crude vessels the galaxy expected. These ships incorporated technology that even the Council's most advanced members would envy, enhanced by humanity's unique approach to innovation. Commander James Rodriguez watched from the observation deck as the flagship Defiance underwent its final tests. The vessel represented everything humanity had achieved in secret: quantum shielding derived from Nexus technology, but refined beyond their understanding, weapon systems that could outmatch Kaldorian warships, and stealth systems that made the ship virtually undetectable. The galaxy's powers continued their political games, fighting among themselves for dominance while ignoring the sleeping giant. They failed to notice the small signs: the disappearance of scout ships near Earth's space, the sudden advancement in Earth's satellite technology, the unusual energy signatures that occasionally flickered at the edge of their sensors. In the Council chambers, Ambassador Zera of the Ethereal Conclave tried to raise the alarm one final time. "We've seen the patterns before," she warned, her ethereal form pulsing with urgency. "Every species that has underestimated humans has regretted it. They don't think like us. They don't fight like us. They adapt, they innovate, they overcome." But her warnings, like those before, were dismissed. The galaxy's powers were too consumed by their own squabbles, too confident in their technological superiority to heed the signs. They would soon learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their ships. It was their indomitable spirit, and their ability to turn any disadvantage into an opportunity. As Earth's hidden fleets grew stronger and their technology more advanced, the countdown to confrontation began. The galaxy had ignored the warning, and now they would face the consequences of their arrogance. Humanity was ready to step onto the galactic stage, not as the primitive species they were thought to be, but as a force that would reshape the very foundations of galactic society. The reckoning was coming, and the stars themselves would bear witness to humanity's rise. First strike. The first signs of humanity's true power emerged not with a bang, but with a whisper. On the edges of Kaldorian space, 3 of their most advanced scout ships simply vanished. The disappearances were dismissed as navigational errors, the ships presumed lost to the natural hazards of deep space. The truth was far more significant. In her command center beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Chen reviewed the combat data from Earth's first real engagement. The Kaldorian ships had detected nothing before their capture, disabled by weapons they hadn't even known existed. Their crews now resided in a hidden facility, unharmed but secure, while Earth's scientists stripped their vessels down to their core components. The test exceeded all expectations, she reported to the Global Defense Council. Their shielding technology, which they believed impenetrable, failed against our phase shift torpedoes. Their sensors never detected our ships until we were already alongside them. The council chamber buzzed with quiet satisfaction. Decades of preparation were finally bearing fruit. Humanity had learned not just to copy alien technology, but to fundamentally understand and improve upon it. Where alien races saw limits, humans saw possibilities. Commander Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Defiance, now joined by its sister ships Prometheus and Horizon. Earth's first battle fleet hung in high orbit, hidden from both conventional sensors and visual detection by advanced stealth systems. His crew, trained in secret for years, represented the finest minds and strongest spirits humanity had to offer. Their arrogance will be their downfall, Rodriguez observed, watching tactical displays showing alien vessel movements throughout the sector. They still think we're limited to our solar system, blind to their activities around us. The Galactic Council remained oblivious to the true extent of human advancement. Their latest session focused on trade disputes between the Nexus Collective and the Ethereal Conclave, while reports of unusual energy signatures and unexplained phenomena were filed away without investigation. But not everyone ignored the signs. On the frontier world of Nexus Prime, Science Director Venna noticed patterns in the data others had dismissed. Ships were disappearing too precisely. Sensor anomalies occurred too regularly to be natural phenomena. She brought her findings to the Nexus High Command, only to be politely but firmly ignored. The humans are primitive, High Commander Kelrix assured her. Their technology is centuries behind ours. These patterns you found are interesting but meaningless. Venna wasn't convinced. She continued her research in secret, gathering data that pointed to an uncomfortable truth. Something was moving in the darkness between the stars, something that shouldn't exist according to their understanding of human capabilities. Back on Earth, the final preparations were underway. In orbital shipyards across the solar system, more vessels joined the fleet. Each incorporated lessons learned from the Kaldorian capture, their systems refined and improved. But Earth's leaders knew they needed more than just superior technology. They needed the element of surprise. The plan was elegant in its simplicity. Earth would reveal itself not through a grand military gesture, but through a series of calculated moves designed to shake the galaxy's power structure to its core. The first target, the Kaldorians' most prized possession, their quantum communications network. Dr. Chen's team had spent years studying Kaldorian quantum technology, developing countermeasures that would bypass their security protocols completely. When we strike, she explained to the Council, they won't just lose their network. They'll realize that everything they thought they knew about us was wrong. The tension mounted as Earth's fleet moved into position. Cloaked ships slipped through alien defense networks, positioning themselves near key communication hubs. Commander Rodriguez and his crew ran final system checks, knowing that success here would set the stage for everything that followed. All ships report ready, his tactical officer announced. The moment of truth had arrived. Execute Operation Silent Dawn, Rodriguez ordered, his voice steady despite the weight of history pressing down on this moment. Across Kaldorian space, their quantum network flickered and died. In an instant, their most secure method of communication simply ceased to exist, the quantum links severed by technology they had never imagined possible. As their leaders scrambled to understand what had happened, human ships were already moving to their next targets. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity wasn't just ready to join the galactic community, they were ready to reshape it entirely. The first strike had been launched, and there would be no turning back from what was to come. Shattered illusions. Panic swept through the halls of the Galactic Council as news of the Kaldorian network's collapse spread. The impossible had happened. Their most advanced communication system had been completely neutralized. As emergency sessions were called and accusations flew, a simple message appeared on every working communication channel in the galaxy. You were warned. The Kaldorian High Command was in chaos. Admiral Thex, his crystalline form clouded with stress, faced the harsh reality that his fleet was effectively blind. Without their quantum network, coordination between their vast armada became painfully primitive. But worse was the growing realization of who was responsible. It can't be the humans, he insisted to his war council, even as evidence mounted. They're barely able to reach their own moon. This must be the work of the Nexus Collective or the Ethereal Conclave. But Science Director Venna of the Nexus Collective knew better. She stood before the Nexus High Command, her earlier warnings now carrying the weight of vindication. The energy signatures match nothing in our database, yet they bear distinct markers of human innovation. They haven't just caught up to us. They've surpassed us in ways we never imagined possible. On Earth, Dr. Chen and her team monitored the galaxy's reaction with satisfaction. The quantum network's destruction was just the beginning. Earth's fleet, now fully mobilized, began executing the next phase of their carefully orchestrated plan. Commander Rodriguez watched from the Defiance's bridge as his battle group approached the Kaldorians' primary shipyard at Arcturus Prime. They still haven't detected us, his sensor officer reported, a note of pride in her voice. Their defensive systems are active, but they're completely blind to our presence. The attack, when it came, was swift and precise. Phase-shift torpedoes materialized inside the shipyard's supposedly impenetrable shields, targeting key structural points with surgical precision. The massive facility, pride of the Kaldorian military, began to break apart before they could even sound an alarm. No casualties, Rodriguez confirmed, watching the emergency evacuation pods launch. Message delivered. Across the galaxy, similar strikes occurred simultaneously. Earth's ships, hidden in plain sight, demonstrated again and again that the most advanced defensive systems in known space were useless against them. The galaxy's powers, who had dismissed humanity as primitive, were forced to face a frightening new reality. In the council chambers, Ambassador Zyra's warnings finally found receptive ears. We underestimated them. She addressed the emergency session, her ethereal form pulsing with urgent energy. While we watched for primitive rockets and basic shield technology, they were studying us, learning our weaknesses, and developing countermeasures we never thought possible. The Nexus Collective, seeing the writing on the wall, made the first move toward diplomacy. High Commander Kelrix, swallowing his pride, authorized Science Director Venet to establish contact with Earth. Her message was simple: we acknowledge your strength. Let us talk before this escalates further. But Earth's leaders had no intention of stopping. Dr. Chen presented the next phase of their plan to the Global Defense Council. The galaxy needs to understand that the old power structure is over. We're not fighting for a place at their table. We're building a new table entirely. The Council's response came from Admiral Marcus Zhang, his weathered face set with determination. Show them what happens when humanity stops holding back. Across human space, new shipyards revealed themselves, dropping their cloaking fields to display vast armadas that dwarfed anything the galaxy had expected. These weren't just warships. They were the product of centuries of reverse engineering, innovation, and human ingenuity. The Ethereal Conclave, ancient masters of energy manipulation, were the first to truly understand the magnitude of what was happening. Their seers caught glimpses of possible futures, and every path led to the same conclusion. The galaxy's balance of power wasn't shifting. It was being completely rewritten. As Earth's fleets moved into position around key strategic points throughout known space, the message became clear. Humanity wasn't seeking revenge for being underestimated. They weren't even seeking dominance. They were reshaping the galaxy into something entirely new, whether the old powers agreed or not. Commander Rodriguez stood on his bridge, watching as more ships joined his fleet. "Send the final message," he ordered. Across every communication channel, in every language known to the galaxy, Earth's declaration was broadcast. The time of ignorance is over. The real question is, who will adapt and who will fall? The Battle of Arcturus. The Kaldorian response came swiftly and predictably. Admiral Thex mobilized the largest battle fleet seen in a millennium, drawing ships from every corner of their territory. Over 10,000 vessels converged on their staging point near the ruins of Arcturus Prime, their crystalline hulls gleaming in the light of distant stars. "Let them see what real power looks like," Thex commanded, his form pulsing with barely contained rage. The loss of their shipyards and communication network had wounded Kaldorian pride deeply. Now they would respond with overwhelming force. On the bridge of the Defiance, Commander Rodriguez watched the massive fleets approach with calculated calm. His own forces appeared dramatically outnumbered, with only a few hundred ships visible to enemy sensors. But appearances, as humanity had proven repeatedly, could be deceiving. Dr. Chen's voice came through on a secure channel from Earth Command. "All quantum field generators are in position. The trap is ready." Her team had spent years preparing for this moment, knowing that the Kaldorians would eventually resort to brute force. The Kaldorian fleet accelerated toward Earth's positions, their energy weapons charging. Admiral Thex stood proudly on his command deck, certain of victory. "Let's show these upstart humans the consequence of challenging their betters." The first shots from the Kaldorian fleet lit up space like artificial stars, their most powerful weapons unleashed in a devastating barrage. But their target wasn't there. Every human ship simply vanished, quantum fields bending reality in ways the Kaldorians had never imagined possible. "Now," Rodriguez ordered. Around the Kaldorian fleet, space itself seemed to ripple. Over 1,000 human ships materialized from quantum space, their positions carefully calculated to surround the enemy fleet completely. But it wasn't their numbers that gave the Kaldorians pause. It was their design. Each human vessel incorporated technology that shouldn't have existed, impossible combinations of various alien designs enhanced by human innovation. Phase shift cannons, quantum disruptors, and weapons the Kaldorians had never seen before powered up simultaneously. "This is Commander Rodriguez to all Earth forces," his voice steady and clear. "Execute Operation Checkmate." The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries. Human ships moved with impossible precision, their quantum drives allowing them to appear and disappear at will. Traditional shields proved useless against weapons that simply bypassed them entirely. The mighty Kaldorian fleet found itself fighting an enemy that seemed to break every rule of warfare they knew. Science Director Venna watched the battle data from her laboratory on Nexus Prime, her earlier warnings now proven devastatingly accurate. "They don't just understand our technology," she reported to her superiors. "They've fundamentally reimagined how it can be used." The ethereal conclave seers gathered in their crystal chambers, their collective consciousness reeling from the implications of what they witnessed. The future they had foreseen was unfolding faster than anyone had anticipated. Humanity wasn't just fighting a battle, they were demonstrating their complete technological superiority. In the Galactic Council chambers, Ambassador Zira addressed the emergency session. "We face a choice," her ethereal form pulsing with urgency. "We can continue to resist this change, or we can accept that the galaxy as we knew it is gone forever." Admiral Thex watched in horror as his fleet was systematically dismantled. Human ships phased through solid matter, appeared inside their formations, and struck with devastating precision. Yet remarkably, most Kaldorian crews survived, their ships disabled rather than destroyed. "This isn't a battle," he realized too late. "This is a demonstration." From her command center, Dr. Chen monitored the engagement with satisfaction. "Send the final message," she ordered. Across every surviving Kaldorian vessel, screens lit up with Earth's terms. "Your ships are disabled, your crews alive. The old ways of the galaxy are over. You can be part of what comes next, or you can stand aside." The choice is yours. The Battle of Arcturus lasted less than an hour, but its impact would reshape galactic society forever. Humanity had proven beyond any doubt that they weren't just equal to the galaxy's greatest powers, they had surpassed them entirely. The question now wasn't whether the old order would fall, but what would rise to take its place. Commander Rodriguez stood on his bridge, watching rescue operations begin for the disabled Caldorian ships. "Send word to Earth," he ordered. "Phase 1 is complete. We're ready to begin negotiations." The galaxy's future hung in the balance, and humanity held all the cards. The time for underestimation was over. The era of human ascendancy had begun. A new order. The aftermath of the Battle of Arcturus sent shockwaves through the galaxy. The Caldorian Empire, once the undisputed military power of known space, had been humbled in a way none thought possible. Their mighty fleet now drifted powerless, their crews forced to accept rescue from the very humans they had dismissed as primitive just days before. In the grand chambers of the Galactic Council, the atmosphere was electric with tension. Representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered to witness something unprecedented: humanity's formal presentation of their terms. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before them, her presence commanding attention despite her small stature among the varied alien forms. "We didn't come here to conquer," she began, her voice carrying across the silent chamber. "We came to correct a fundamental flaw in galactic society. For too long, power has been concentrated in the hands of a few species who believe their technological advancement gave them the right to dominate others." The Nexus Collective's delegation, led by Science Director Venna, watched with particular interest. They had been the first to extend diplomatic overtures after recognizing the true extent of human capabilities. "The humans aren't just proposing changes," Venna whispered to her colleagues. "They're rewriting the fundamental rules of galactic civilization." Commander Rodriguez had positioned the Defiance and its battle group in high orbit above the Council world, a reminder of Earth's new military supremacy. But the ships carried more than just weapons. They represented humanity's vision for the future, a fusion of technologies and ideas that transcended traditional boundaries. "Your civilizations have become stagnant," Dr. Chen continued, displaying holographic data that showed centuries of technological paralysis among the major powers. "You stopped innovating, content to maintain your advantages over those you considered lesser species. Humanity refuses to accept such limitations." The evidence was undeniable. In just a few short years of revealed presence, humans had demonstrated technological achievements that had eluded the galaxy's greatest minds for millennia. They hadn't just mastered existing technologies, they had fundamentally reimagined how they could be used. Admiral Thex, his crystalline form still bearing the shame of defeat, addressed the Council. "We underestimated them, yes. But what gives them the right to dictate terms to civilizations that have stood for millions of years?" The answer came not from Dr. Chen, but from Ambassador Zera of the Ethereal Conclave. "They earned that right," her ethereal form pulsing with conviction. "Not through conquest, but through innovation. They showed us possibilities we never imagined." Earth's proposal was both simple and revolutionary. The old power structures would be disbanded, replaced by a new organization where technological advancement and innovation were shared rather than hoarded. Species that had been kept intentionally primitive would be given access to advanced technology, but with human oversight to ensure it wasn't misused. "We're not asking for permission," Dr. Chen clarified. "This is happening. The only choice is whether you'll be part of building this new future, or whether you'll be left behind by it." The response divided the galaxy. Younger species and those who had suffered under the old regime quickly pledged support to Earth's vision. The Nexus Collective, seeing an opportunity to be at the forefront of a new age of innovation, threw their considerable technological resources behind the proposal. But others resisted. Deep in the shadows of unexplored space, elements of the Caldorian military began gathering their remaining forces. The Tsar hegemony, ancient rivals of humanity's new allies, started moving their fleets with suspicious purpose. Admiral Marcus Zhang addressed Earth's Defense Council as reports of these movements came in. "We expected resistance," he noted, studying tactical displays. "Change never comes easily to those who benefited most from the old ways." In her laboratory beneath the Pacific, Dr. Chen and her team continued their work. The technology they had revealed so far was impressive, but it was only the beginning. "Let them gather their forces," she told her colleagues, watching data stream in from quantum sensors throughout the galaxy. "They haven't seen anything yet." Commander Rodriguez received new orders aboard the Defiance. Earth's fleet would be divided, with battle groups positioned strategically throughout known space. They would protect their allies, monitor potential threats, and ensure that the transition to the new order proceeded smoothly, by force if necessary. "The hard part begins now," he told his crew, studying mission briefings. "Winning the battle was just the first step. Now we have to win the peace." The galaxy stood at a crossroads. The old order was crumbling, its power structures falling away like dead leaves. But change brought uncertainty, and uncertainty bred fear. As humanity moved to reshape galactic civilization, the question remained: would the galaxy embrace this new future, or would the forces of the old regime make one final desperate attempt to turn back the tide of history?